Hello everyone, I'm Robert Tomlinson, Commissioner of the USA EPL Power League, and welcome to the Week 7 USA EPL Power League Roundup Show. This week was the penultimate week of competition, and with just 1 week left to go before the playoffs, there was a lot that happened this week that can and maybe will affect how Week 8 could shake out. From thrilling victories to agonizing defeats, we had it all this week. So let's get started by taking one more look at the standings heading in to Week 7. Coming into Week 7, the North Shore Honu hold down first place in the USA EPL Power League as the lone team to have clinched the playoffs so far with a record of 17-4. Then you have three teams right behind them at 15-6, the Philadelphia Bandits, the Green Revolution, and the North Pole No Sox. Then you have a logjam of teams at 14-7, led by the Soda Beer Sunrise, followed by the Lost City Monarchs, the Space City Comets, and the Crowhoppers. Then at 11-10, you have the Dot Crew, owned by M. Frisk. On the bottom half of the standings, you have the White Comets and Big Sid at 10-11, along with the Purple Hurricanes at 10-11. The Smooth Jazz are at 9-12 and still mathematically alive for the playoff race. And then you have the Hampton County Tabby Cats at 7-14, the Bay Area Rockets at 6-15, the Flickin' Squibs, Osaka Foxes, and Wild Jokers at 5-16, and last but not least, the Chicago Curve at 3-18. Let's get started with the highlights of Week 7, starting with one of the series of the week. This was a matchup people have had circled on their calendars for quite a while. YG's Green Revolution would clinch the playoffs with a series victory, while I Pump Plastic would do the same if they swept the Revolution. Two teams with some of the best records in the league squaring off makes for an intriguing matchup in and of itself. But what transpired was potentially one of the series, if not the series, of the season. Let's get you out to the highlights of that series of the season between the Green Revolution and the Lost City Monarchs. We pick it up top of the first. Yakiman 5 at the plate for the Monarchs. Gets a base hit just in front of Shido in center field. That would bring in the first run of the game to make it 1-0. Bottom of the second now. Runners on second and third with one out. Nakayama at the plate gets a ground ball to the right side. Aseki with the toss to first in time to throw back home. Could not get the runner, tying the game at 1. It would remain tied going into the top of the third. Nubis at the plate gets K'd by Suzaku. He was outstanding in this one. Bottom of the fourth, Kiba on the mound for the Monarchs gives up a solo home run to Minazuki, giving the Green Revolution a 2-1 lead. Then the top of the eighth, Garcia at the plate gets a base hit into left field with one out. Could they do anything with it though? Next batter, Fukuya on a meatball from Aoi Hayakawa launches it into right center, giving the Monarchs a 3-2 lead. Bottom 8, Sendo leading things off for the Green Revolution, gets a little floater behind short, but Yakiman 5, not enough range to get to that for a leadoff single. Ozma would pinch run, and then on the first pitch to the next batter, gets a stolen base on the high throw. So, runner on second, Shido grounds it to second, but it gets through for a base hit. So with runners on the corners, it eventually turns into bases loaded with one out. Haitani, with the little squeeze play, gets the run in to tie this ball game. And then to Nakayama, the next hitter. Amori couldn't get the little floater. And it's 4-3 Green Revolution coming back in the eighth. And that would be enough for the Green Revolution. Aseki lining out to Nakayama to end the game, and the Green Revolution take a huge 4-3 win in Game 1. Suzaku with 6 great innings of baseball. Game 2 between the Monarchs and the Revolution. A win for the Revolution would be huge toward their playoff hopes. Top of the first, runners on the corners with 2 outs for Shido. Little meatball down the middle, but Aseki makes a great jumping play to retire the side. No score going bottom 2. Nubis at the plate. Amazaki gets a strikeout there. And then the bottom of the 5th, Amazaki against Fumito Data gets another strikeout. Nice dot right there with the slider. But later in the inning, he would run into a little bit of trouble. Garcia at the plate gets a base hit just past the second baseman and gets it in for an RBI single, 1-0 for the Monarchs. Top 8, Green Revolution trying to get back in it. Victor Koldberg gets a fastball from Kiba and gets it into the left center field gap. 1 run would score. Runner coming all the way from first to score. That would make it a 2-1 ball game. But Yuki Yamazaki trying to go 9. Gets a base hit just past Saeki to lead off the bottom of the 9th. But they stick with Yamazaki. Fumito Data at the plate grounds into the 4-6-3 for 2 outs. And then, dog tired, Yamazaki gives up a 2-out single to Nubis. So the tying run, once again at the plate, Naito, big power threat, grounds out to second. And the Green Revolution hang on to win this one 2-1. Game 3 between these two squads. We pick it up bottom of the first. Victor Koldberg at the plate with 1 out. Lines out to Iseki. This would be a bit of a pitcher's duel for the first few innings. Yamino on the mound. Nice little relay throw to get the runner stealing. And then Saeki flies out to center to end the inning. So we go to the top of the 4th. Yakuman 5 leading off against Myojin gets dotted up. But later in the inning, Myojin would get into a little bit of trouble. Kiba with a little floater in the left field for a base hit. That would score not just 1 run, it would score 2 runs just ahead of the throw. Monarchs taking a 2-0 lead. Then Naito at the plate pops it up to second, but Saeki, a bad move there. Get through into right field to put runners on the corners, and the Monarchs would capitalize. Fumito Data with a bunt right down to the pitcher. 3-0 the score. We go bottom 5. Yuto Saiga with 1 out, bases empty, launches one to right center field. That one just gets over the fence to make it a 3-1 ball game. In the 8th inning, Tanakayama gets a base hit right up the middle to lead off the inning, and then Haitani against Yakuman 1 guesses perfectly on where that pitch was going to go and launches into right center to tie the ball game at 3. The Monarchs would be scoreless in the top of the 9th. Myojin doing his job, and then in the bottom of the 9th on a 1-1 pitch, Akira Myojin with a walk-off homer into right center field to win the ball game for the Revolution. They take the series in a sweep, 4-3 the final in Game 3. M.Frisk's Dot Crew team have been fading quite a bit in the standings going into the second half of the season, and a bit of that frustration showed in Week 6 against Compass with their Game 1 forfeit. They were looking to get back on track against Sir Bacon Bits' North Pole No Sox, who, with 2 wins, could clinch a spot in the EPL playoffs. So the stakes were big going into this matchup, which was played the week prior due to scheduling considerations. Would the Crew keep their playoff hopes alive, or would the No Sox clinch a playoff spot? Big playoff clinching scenario for the North Pole No Sox as they take on the Dot Crew. And Go was spectacular on the mound in this one. Top of the first, facing Bito, gets a ground ball right off of his back. Ricochets to Oyama, gets the throw in time for the out. Then the top of the second, Saru with a runner on second, gets a ground ball right to Oyama to end that threat. And then, in the top of the 6th, facing Kamitaka with 2 outs, base is empty. Pops it up, but Gobu with a nice sliding play right behind the plate. But just as Go was good, Atsumori was good too. Bottom of the 2nd, Gobu popping up to short, Izioi making the play to retire the side there. Then in the bottom of the 3rd, Yabe at the plate, runner on first, 1 out, grounds into a 4-6-3 to end the inning. Then the bottom of the 5th, Go with a 1 out, Oda on the run, makes the grab to retire the side there. Bottom of the 7th though, the North Sox will break it wide open. Ogoe with a solo shot to right center to give them a 1-0 lead, and that's all they would need. Top of the 9th, 2 outs. Oda the last chance for the Dot Crew, grounds it right to Go to retire the side and end the ball game. No Sox take Game 1, 1-0 Go, 6 shutout innings in this one. Ogoe, 1 for 3 with the homer. Game number 2 between the No Sox and the Dot Crew. Picked this one up in the top of the first. A good chance early for the No Sox. Getting a base hit into right field was go, and that would bring in a run to make it 1-0. And they would add another. Later on in the inning, Hoshi at the plate flicks a curveball into left field. Little opposite field action there. 2-0 the score. And then Suzumoto would get to work. Bottom of the third, 1 on, nobody out, facing Izioi. Gets a ground ball to third. Go to Bon to Kirigane for the double play. Then the bottom of the sixth, Bito at the plate gets a soft grounder to second. Bon to Ogoe to Kirigane for a big double play to end the inning. Then the bottom of the ninth, Bito at the plate gets a ground ball up the middle through for a base hit. So the Dot Crew trying to get something going in the bottom of the ninth. Then Roddy Bright launches that magic ball of oath into right field. That would be a double. That would put runners on second and third. Bito had to retreat back to third. And then, after a walk to Oda, Shacho, wham, into right center field. And that would be a walk-off grand slam for the Dot Crew to take game number 2, 4-2. Samara complete game, 2 runs given up. Game 3, the rubber match between the No Sox and the Dot Crew. Pick this one up top of the first. Ikari on the mound, facing off with Oda. Pop up right to Kirigane. He would step on the bag for the double play to end that inning. Then in the bottom of the first, No Sox with a chance. Go lining it into left field, but Bito right there to make the play. This would be a pitcher's duel kind of game. Mamoru Ikari on the mound here in the top of the third, facing Izioi. Gets a ground ball. Nice diving stop by Go. Throw to first in time for the out. Then later in the inning, Oda popping it up. Ikari ranging over to make the play. Ikari would have some strong baseball in this one. Then the bottom of the seventh, Tanoji facing Oda, strikes out on the circle change. This one would go to the bottom of the ninth. Ogoe with a chance to give them some heroics again, but it's popped up to second, and this one would go to extra innings. It would go all the way to the 12th. First and second, 1 out for Hanma Kirigane, and he launches one over the heads of everybody, and that would bring in the game-winning run on the RBI double, and the No Sox clinch the playoffs with a 1-0 win in game number 3. Hoshi, 4 innings in relief, getting the win in this one. Playing spoiler. That was the name of the game for the Hampton County Tabby Cats and Haha Healy coming into their Week 7 series against Penguin Pouch's Soda Beer Sunrise, one of the best statistical offenses in the league. With a sweep, the Sunrise could clinch a playoff spot, but could they do so against a team that has one of the lower run prevention totals in the league? Would the Tabby Cats play spoiler here in this big series against the Soda Beer Sunrise? Picking up bottom of the first, Red at the plate for the Sunrise, gets a base hit up the middle, a little floater in there for a base hit, brings in the first run of the ball game, making it a 1-0 lead, and the floodgates would open in the bottom of the first. Kiyomoto then at the plate, crunches one into deep center field. Tommaso Burrow can't quite make the jump. That would score a run, and that would score 2 runs all the way from first. Just ahead of the throw, 3-0 in the bottom of the first, and they would tack on one more. Ogane, little floater over short. Zansu can't make the play, and it's 4-0 for the Soda Beer Sunrise, and that was all that Alvin Lockhart needed. Top of the second, Yabe striking out there against Lockhart. Then the top of the fifth, they would get on the board, the Tabby Cats, with a base hit up the middle from Yakiman 3. That would bring in their only run of the game, 4-1 the score. And then the top of the fifth, Tommaso Burrow at the plate, striking out against Lockhart. And then the top of the ninth, Lockhart going for the complete game. Yabe rounds it up the middle. Odagiri with the throw in time. And the Soda Beer Sunrise with that big first inning win it 4-1. Lockhart with a complete game, 2 strikeouts, 8 hits, giving up just the 1 run. Amane and Rokaku 2 for 4 for the Tabby Cats. In game number 2 between the Tabby Cats and the Soda Beer Sunrise, this was a pitcher's duel. Top of the fourth, Unkai on the mound for the Tabby Cats in this one, facing off against Red. Little hit and run action goes off of Unkai, but the throw not in time. So that put first and second with 2 out for Naito, and a nice diving play by Komasaka to get Naito out to end the threat. Then the bottom of the 4th, Red went to work for the Sunrise, gets a strikeout, Daiichiman there, and then the bottom of the 8th, Oda. Grounder up the middle. Papillon couldn't make the play, and that was actually the first hit of the ball game for the Tabby Cats. He had a no-hitter going through 8. Top of the 10th, it would go into extra innings, and Kiyomoto with a base hit. A little bit of a risky send from third, gets the run in for the Sunrise to make it 1-0. But then in the bottom of the 10th, second and third, 1 out for Daiichiman. Ground ball that gets right through Naito at first. And that would bring in both of the base runners for a walk-off RBI double. And the Tabby Cats take game 2, 2-1. Game 3 between the Soda Beer Sunrise and the Tabby Cats. Tabby Cats looking to take the series, but DJB78 had other plans. Big strikeout there of Daiichiman in the first, and then in the top of the second, Oda, a strikeout victim as well. Later on in the top of the second, Yabe at the plate gets a base hit into right field. Ogane in right field, the throw in time to get the runner going to third. Then the bottom of the 5th, Odagiri at the plate facing off against Gravitane Rai. He was a ground ball master in this one, gets one there. Then the bottom of the 9th, a big chance for the Sunrise to possibly walk it off, but Red flies out to Yabe to send it to extras. And in the 10th inning, Rokaku, facing off with DJB78, lines one of those patented forkballs up the middle for a base hit. Another risky send from third, but the Tabby Cats would get first blood, 1-0 in the 10th. And then, next batter, Akio Yabe, the man, lifts it over the head of Papillon for a base hit. That would score another run to make it 2-0, and the Tabby Cats weren't done. A couple batters later, Yakuman 3, lining a forkball in the right field. A bit of a misplay in the outfield by the Soda Beer Sunrise. That would score 2 to make it 4-0 now. Sunrise trying to come back in this. Odagiri in the bottom of the 10th, base hit into center. That would score not 1, but 2 runs just ahead of the throw from Tomasa Burrow. But that was all the Sunrise would get. Kyle Morales, the last chance, grounds into a close 4-6-3 double play, and the Tabby Cats play a bit of spoiler in this series, winning Game 3 4-2 and keeping the Sunrise from clinching. The owner of the Space City Comets, Compass, has been on what I would like to coin the Shora diet as of late. Named after the best Power Pros player in the world, it's a set of techniques and practices in a video recently released by Shora that allow a player to get more of a feel for no lock-on play, especially for the new mainline Power Pro game that came out recently. Compass decided to try these methods out for the first time against Serena's Osaka Foxes, who were also trying to play spoiler to a playoff contender. Would those techniques work for Compass, or would the Foxes scrap out a win or two? All right, let's take you out to the ballpark for game number 1 between the Osaka Foxes and the Space City Comets. We pick it up top of the first and second, 2 outs for Maximum Christine. Comets threatening, but Tsukumo right there to make the catch on the line. Top of the second, Mizudori at the plate gets a little floater into center field just over Pink's head. That would be an RBI single to bring in the first run of the game of Amane to make it 1-0 Comets. Top of the 4th, Toy at the plate, Ome on second. Gets a line drive into center field. Dadon on the run. Can't quite get the glove on it. Went under his glove. It went all the way to the wall. It would be an RBI triple for Tetsuo Toy to make it 2-0. We stay in the top of the 4th. A couple batters later, Raigo at the plate just misses the meatball, but it does become an RBI single. That would make it 3-0 Comets. And then from there, Otome did their job. Bomb 4, Kyushu strikes out on the forkball, and then in the bottom of the 6th, Chihime caught looking on a dotted fastball there. Top of the 7th, 4-0 now for the Comets. Amane into center field with the bases loaded, gets not 1 but 2 RBI on that one to make it 6-0. And then top of the 8th, Toy launching one to deep center field, high and deep and gone to make it 7-0, and that would pretty much do it. Bottom 8, Don the last hope for the Osaka Foxes, grounds out to short, and it would be a mercy rule win for the Comets in Game 1. 7-0 the final score. Otome, 6 innings of great baseball. Raigo, a 5-hit game. Toy, 2 for 4 with a triple and homer. Game number 2 between the Foxes and the Comets. We picked this one up in the bottom of the first. Raigo at the plate. Runner on second, nobody out. Gets a base hit into right field off of Hoshi. That would make it a 1-0 Space City lead to start. Then, in the top of the third, Foxes threatening second and third with 1 out. Hit and run. Little soft floater right to Ozma. Then right back to second for the double play. That would end the threat. And then the bottom of the fourth, Maximum Christine launches one to center field to make it 2-0 Space City. And then the Comets pitching would go from there. Pink in the top of the seventh, swings and misses at the changeup for the strikeout. And then the top of the eighth against Roseo Veres. Easy-Oi grounds into the good old 4-6-3 double play. Foxes really wouldn't put up another threat outside the top of the third. Top of the ninth, Chihime popping it up to the catcher Mizudori, and that would do it. Comets take game 2, 2-0. Christine with the homer, Raigo with the RBI, Simon with 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, and a strikeout. Comets looking for the sweep in game number 3 against the Osaka Foxes. Picked this one up in the top of the first. Saburi at the plate against Atsumori. A perfectly timed hit and run brings home the first run of the game to make it 1-0. And then later in the inning, Maximum Christine, runners on first and third, 1 out, lines this one into center field. Donda has a great arm, tests it, and Raigo is out at the plate. Good defense there from the Foxes. Bottom third, Chihime at the plate. Gets a base hit into center field right in front of Toy, but a late break from third and a strong throw from Toy gets the runner at the plate to end that threat. Top of the fourth, Zenji Kamakari launches off a meatball from Atsumori to make it 3-0, and then Raigo in the top of the fifth gets a base hit just in front of Don. A bit of a late break from third, but the throw was offline. 4-0 the score. And then Icho launches it into left field, and I mean launched it. 3-run homer to make it 7-0, and that would pretty much do it. 8-0 now in the bottom of the fifth, and this would be a mercy rule game. Comets take this one 8-0 and get the sweep and clinch a playoff spot. B. Farrell's Philadelphia Bandits are one of the few contenders remaining for the regular season title in the USA EBaseball Power League, coming into the week with a 15-6 record, one of 3 teams at that mark. If things go their way in the next couple of weeks, they could make a serious challenge to Zumikaku for the regular season title and a berth in the ePremier 12 USA Finals. But they're facing off against a Chicago Curve squad owned by Clutch, whose skills in the game have not exactly translated to the win column so far this season. Could the Curve play spoiler, or would it be the Bandits clinching a playoff spot? To Crown Diamond we go for game number 1 between the Chicago Curve and the Philadelphia Bandits. Pick this one up, top of the first. Hino at the play against Zenigata, swings and misses. Both pitchers were very good early on in this one. Kurama for the Bandits in the bottom of the first, striking out Kokuju. And then the bottom of the third, Kurama against Shogo Getsu. Gets him with the special slider there. But in the top of the fourth, against Takeshi Isamura, a left Nanai leaves the ballpark with that shot to right center field to make it a 1-0 Bandits lead. Then the top of the fifth, Choji Bando gets a sinker inside from Isamura, launching it to make it 2-0. And then top of the eighth, Choji Bando against Hortus Run gets a nice little cutter into left center field for his second homer of the game to make it 3-0, and that would be all the Bandits pitching staff would need. Bottom 8, Hortasugi dotted up on the splitter from Tsuruya. Then the bottom of the ninth, 2 on, 1 out, Nakanoshima grounding it to the right side. Kodaira with a nice diving stop, throw to first in time. And then second and third, 2 outs, Shinko Kuju striking out against Kaji to end the ball game. And the Bandits take game 1 by a final of 3-0. Kurama, 6 innings, 3 strikeouts. Bondo with a 2-homer game. Game number 2 between the Curve and the Bandits. Picked this one up in the bottom of the first, a left in the nine against Matsuzaki. Leaves the ballpark again for his second homer of the series. 2-run shot to make it 2-0 early. Top of the third, the Curve would get on the board. This is Rufu Kuroe down the right field line and into the corner. That would be an RBI double to make it 2-1. And then after that, both pitchers were just fantastic the rest of the way. Bottom 4, 2-2 count on Tomazawa. Horace run gets a strikeout on the sinker. Then the top of the 5th, Tsuruya dotting up Hortasugi of the Curve. And then the top of the 8th, Hito against Tsuruya. Swings and misses at the slider. Then the bottom of the 8th, trying to get some insurance runs were the Bandits. But it's a 6-4-3 double play instead off the bat of Kurama. Top 9, 2 outs, nobody on for Nakanoshima against Reibukai. Gets the ground ball to short. And in what would turned out to be a pitcher's duel there. 2-1 the final score. Philadelphia gets the win. Then in game number 3, Bandits looking for the sweep. Picks up in the top of the second. Kurama with a line drive into right field to bring in the first run of the ball game to make it 1-0. Then they would get a couple more in the inning. Kodaira with a line drive into right center field. That would split the outfielders and go all the way to the wall. It would score 1. It would score 2 to make it a 3-0 ball game. And then it would just be all Bandits all the time. Top of the third, Akahara gets the slider from Zenigata they wanted into the right center field bleachers, making it a 6-0 ball game. And then Hino, in the next inning, launches that one off the wall in center. That would make it a 7-0 ball game. It would be a triple for Yutaro Hino, and that would pretty much be it for the game. Bottom 4, 0-2 count on Kokuju. Big swing and a miss by Kaji with a runner on third. And then Sho Ito grounds out to short with a runner on third to end the game. And the Philadelphia Bandits clinch the playoffs in a sweep. 7-0 the final in game number 3. Both the Flickin' Squibs and the Wild Jokers have not had the smoothest of years, all things considered. But both teams have had flashes of brilliance at points in the season. With both teams at 5-16, which one would show their brilliance in this matchup? Game 1 between the Flickin' Squibs and the Wild Jokers. We picked this one up in the top of the first. Sakamoto at the plate facing Shindo. Swings and misses for strike 3. Shindo was great in this one. Here in the top of the first, Honda striking out swinging. He would have 7 strikeouts on the game. Bottom first, 2 outs, nobody on. Daisuke Data off of Bucho into right field. Home run makes it 1-0 Wild Jokers. Then, later on in the inning, Narumi gets a ground ball up the middle to Roppongi. Throw to first in time, but the run comes in to score to make it 2-0. Flickin' Squibs in the top of the third get a line drive up the middle for a base hit. Runner rounding third, heading home, he would score to make it a 2-1 ball game. But in the bottom of the third, Bat Marushima with runners on the corners for the Wild Jokers gets a base hit into center field. Another run would come in to score to make it 3-1, but Marushima would be out on second on some questionable base running. Bottom 5, Daisuke Data once again pulling a home run to right field. 3-run shot to make it 6-1, and Shindo would take it from there. Yaki Mask in the top of the 6th, striking out swinging. Then in the top of the 8th, Sakyo Mitsumori striking out swinging on that outside slider. Top 9, Honda at the plate. Last chance for the Flickin' Squibs. Swings and misses for the final strikeout, and the Wild Jokers take it 6-1. Shindo with a complete game, 7 strikeouts. Daisuke Data with 2 homers. Game number 2 between the Flickin' Squibs versus the Wild Jokers. Bottom 4, we pick it up there. Honda at the plate for the Flickin' Squibs, and he launches one into deep center field. A rare home run for the Flickin' Squibs to make it 1-0. Top of the 5th, though, Samejima at the plate for the Wild Jokers. Runner on second with 1 out. gets a little floater into center field for a base hit. That would score a run just ahead of the throw. 1-1 tie game. Then, later on in the inning, Kazunagi with runners on first and second gets a base hit into center field, rounding third, coming on home, and just getting it under the tag to make it 2-1. Then, Marishima, later on in the inning, another base hit, this time into right center field. That would score another run to make it 3-1. And they would eventually make it 4-1 as we go top of the sixth. Samajima at the plate, lining that one into left field for a base hit. Akechi would come in to score, and that would make it a 5-1 ball game. Then the top of the seventh, Vanguard, off of Abada, gets a base hit up the middle. Another run comes in to score to make it 6-1, and that would be all that the Wild Jokers needed. Bottom eight, One facing Black, swings and misses to end the inning there. And then the bottom of the ninth, 6-2 now. And a fly ball to short would end the ball game. Wild Jokers get the series win, 6-2 in game number 2. Narmi with 6 innings, 6 strikeouts as well. Game 3 between the Flickin' Squibs and the Wild Jokers. We picked this one up bottom of the second. Samajima at the plate facing off with Hokuto. Gets a base hit into right field to put the Wild Jokers on the board early, 1-0. Bottom of the third, Vanguard facing Hokuto. Gets a ground ball just down the third base line and just past the diving third baseman. That would bring in a run on the RBI single, 2-0 Wild Jokers. Then Samajima, runners on second and third, nobody out, gets a grounder to first, gets the out at first. The runner comes in, both runners come in to score on some very questionable defense to make it 4-0. But in the top of the fifth, Flickin' Squibs get a run on a base hit there to make it 4-1. And then in the top of the sixth, Hizuka, runners on second and third, gets a fastball, floats it into right field for a base hit. That would score 2 and make it a 1-run game. Runner goes to second on the throw. Then in the seventh, runner on third, 1 out for Yaki Mask, a bit of a hit and run, and a base hit, little squibber down the third base line. That would tie the ball game at 4. Wild Jokers trying to win it in the bottom of the ninth. Marishima grounding the third. Throw in time, and we go to extra innings. And in the bottom of the 10th, Vanguard at the plate launches it into left center field. That would clear everybody, and the Wild Jokers would walk it off in game 3, RBI double to make it 5-4 and win the game, taking the sweep over the Flickin' Squibs. Our next matchup today was right up there as being one of the most intriguing matchups of Week 7, but also one of the biggest in terms of playoff implications. With the Monarchs' results against the Green Revolution, both Slime Falls Purple Hurricanes and Big Sid's White Comets still have a shot at the playoffs. But while the road to a playoff spot would be difficult for either team, regardless of what happened in this series, it would be slightly easier for whoever won this pivotal series. And let me tell you, one of the most pivotal and intense series of the season certainly lived up to its billing. Let's take you out to that big matchup between the Purple Hurricanes and the White Comets. And we're going to pick this one up in the top of the second. White Comets at the plate, Ken Hakasaki leading off and showing out. Ball go far into right field, and the White Comets would lead it 1-0. And Hakasaki would not get a whole lot of at-bats the rest of this series after that homer. Top second, bases loaded, nobody out for Yojo Kenji. Drops the bunt down, gets the squeeze bunt down, and it's 2-0 White Comets. Later on, next batter, Mickey Vermillion lines that one down the left field line. It would be a base hit. It'll go into the corner, and that would score the rest of the runners off base. 4-0 after the top of the second. Top of the third, they would get more. Ken Hakasaki once again lining it into right center field for a base hit. That would score another RBI, and it would be a 5-0 ball game. Ken Hakasaki, an absolute menace at the plate for the White Comets. Bottom third, runner on first, 2 outs for the Hurricanes, and that one's lined into right field for a base hit. That would score a run to make it a 5-1 ball game, putting the Purple Hurricanes on the board. Then in the top of the fourth, they would get that run back. Inada with a little floater into center field for a base hit, and another run coming on home. Throw cut off, 6-1 White Comets. Bottom four, Nanomiya against Doe lines that one to right field with the bases loaded for another base hit, and that would score a run for the Hurricanes. 6-2 now. Bottom four, Lifter Tsukami with a chance to score some more, flies out to right. That would be a sacrifice fly, making it 6-3. But then, with a chance to score more, Kuya Kagami grounds it right back to Doe for the final out of the inning, and that would be all the Hurricanes would get. Top of the fifth, Kaminari going yard into right center field, giving the White Comets another run to make it a 7-3 ball game. That would be the score as we go to the bottom of the ninth. Nanomiya facing off against Julius, dotted up with the fastball, and then with 2 outs, Kuya Kagami the last chance for the Hurricanes. Fly ball into left field. Teramichi there for the final out, and the White Comets making a statement in game one, winning 7-3. Hakasaki 2 for 4 with a homer. Doe goes 6 innings, 9 hits, giving up 3 runs on the day. In game number 2 between the White Comets and the Purple Hurricanes, we're going to pick this one up in the top of the second. Hurricanes at the plate for Nanomiya against Tamane. He drives this one way deep into left center field. Off the wall it went, and that would score the first run of the ball game for the Purple Hurricanes, putting them up 1-0. Doman scoring just ahead of the throw. Bottom four, Inada facing off with Tachikawa, and he got all of that shudo from Tachikawa. That would be a home run to tie this ball game at 1. Top of the fifth, still tied at 1, and then Tsukami gets the run back for the Hurricanes. Big fly into left field to put them up 2-1. Then, with a chance to tie the ball game, Shimada on a 2-2 count for the White Comets, dotted up by Tachikawa on the fastball to end the inning. Then the top of the seventh, Yuya Uraga for the Purple Hurricanes, lifting one into left field. That would score 2 more to make it 4-1, and that would be the final run they would score. Bottom 9, 2 outs, Mitsuno swing and a miss on that fastball, and the Purple Hurricanes would take game 2, 4-1. Game number 3 between the White Comets and the Hurricanes, picking up top of the second, Gyanendra Bhattarai for the White Comets, lining it just over the head of Yavaline at short to bring in the first run of the ball game, 1-0 for the White Comets. Then Ken Hakasaki, who had been walked in his previous 5 at-bats intentionally, shows why with an RBI single to center field to make it a 2-0 ball game. Then the bottom of the fifth, Tachikawa at the plate gets a base hit into center field for the Hurricanes. Rounding third, heading home, and scoring was Hasiaku to make it a 2-1 ball game. Then Kagami, with a chance to maybe tie the game, grounds into a 5-3 heads-up double play. The rally would fizzle at that point. Top 6, with runners on the corners, a hit and run, a botched one at that, and that would end the inning. Top of the 7th, White Comets trying to get some more runs. Kuya Kagami just making the play, but the animation not favorable for the Hurricanes. A run would score from third on the sac fly, 3-1. And then Ken Hakasaki once again showing why he is a menace to the Purple Hurricanes. Gets an RBI single to left field to make it 4-1. And then in the top of the 8th, Mickey Vermillion up the middle, just over Yavaline's glove. Big throw from Kagami coming home, and the throw not in time to get Bhattarai, 5-1. The Hurricanes would try to come back in this one. Bottom 8, Todoroki with a big double into right center field. That would score a run to make it 5-2. And then next batter, Yavaline up the middle, gets through for a base hit. That would score another run, 5-3 the score. And then the bottom of the ninth, first and second, 2 outs. A little fly ball in the right field, a bit of defensive miscommunication, and that would make it a 5-4 ball game off the bat of Kodaka. And then, last chance for the Hurricanes. Uraga, with runners in scoring position, flies out to left field. And the White Comets survive Game 3 and take the series 5-4 the final in Game 3. Suzakaze, 6 innings, giving up just 1 run. White Comets keep their playoff hopes alive. It's a tough road to the playoffs for the Smooth Jazz, but Jeff DeBoss's team is still technically in the hunt with that 9-win record. But a lot of things have to go right for him to grab a spot. The first thing he'd need to do is defeat MC Scales' Crowhoppers, which have been one of the quietly great teams all season, coming in with a 14-7 record and potentially on the brink of a playoff spot. Because of the split between the Hurricanes and White Comets that you just saw, it opened the door for the Crowhoppers to clinch if they won 2 games. Could they clinch? Or would the Smooth Jazz take a big step toward the playoffs? A lot on the line for both teams here in Game 1 between the Crowhoppers and the Smooth Jazz. Crowhoppers with 2 wins could clinch a playoff spot. Top of the second, both pitching staffs up to the task. Kaede Yukino striking out Kamura there. And then the bottom of the second, Takarazuka at the plate for the Crowhoppers. Gets ground ball up the middle. Kamura with a great diving stop. Gets the out at first. Fantastically played out there. Then the bottom of the fourth, first and second, 2 outs. Takarazuka grounding out to Nodoka Yumashiro to retire that side. And then in the top of the fifth, Kaede Yukino getting Kamura swinging on a forkball. She would give up no hits through 6 innings. Bottom 6, Mamoru Ikari, Afro Ikari at the plate for the Crowhoppers. Grounds into the 4-6-3 double play. Then the top of the 7th, Octavia, now on the mound for the Crowhoppers. Ochiai grounding out to short with runners on first and second. It would remain scoreless in this one. Going into the bottom of the 8th, Tamaguchi at the plate with runners on the corners. Ground ball to the right side. Ochiai with the throw to the plate, but Akiak safe at the plate to make it a 1-0 game, and that would be all the Crowhoppers needed. Top 9, Yumashiro at the plate. Line drive caught by Sakigake to retire the game, and the Smooth Jazz eliminated from the playoffs. Crowhoppers 1 game away from making the playoffs. 1-0 the final score in Game 1. Game 2 between the Smooth Jazz and the Crowhoppers, and this was another tight game all the way. Top of the second, Akiak at the plate for the Crowhoppers. Gets a base hit into left field, but a good throw by Shibuya would keep the bases loaded for Kazaki, who flies out to first. Ochiai making the play, and then with 2 outs, bases loaded, Sakigake grounds out to Moto at short to end the threat. Bottom third now, Shibuya at the plate facing off against Hibino, and Shibuya gets an inside fastball that he liked and launches it into left field corner for a home run. 1-0 Smooth Jazz. Then the top of the 5th, facing off against Mileman. A pop out to short there by Morikawa. And then in the top of the 7th, Kazaki. Ground ball to the left side. Suzuki, though, throwing it away, putting runners on first and second with 1 out. Sakigake at the plate now. A bit of a hit and run there. Ultimately, ground ball to third. Suzuki makes the throw this time. Runners advance, and then Tamaguchi pops out to short to end the threat, and that would be the biggest threat that the Crowhoppers would prove to have all game long. Furunaga striking out here in the top of the 9th against Mileman, who was solid through 6 innings of relief, and then Kazaki grounding out to the right side to tie up the series. Smooth Jazz take Game 2, 1-0 the final score. Shibuya 2 for 2. Mileman 6 strong innings in relief for the Smooth Jazz. So that brought us to our rubber match, Game 3 between the Crowhoppers and the Smooth Jazz. Bottom of the first, Hebashima at the plate facing Arashimaru, grounds it up the middle to short to retire the side with a runner on third. Then the bottom of the 4th, Arashimaru on the mound facing Afro Ikari, gets a ground ball up the middle. Kamura with the throw, not in time. He is safe at first. Couple batters later, Ikari now on second. Takarazuka in the right field for a base hit. Takeda coming up, throwing the throw, not in time. 1-0 the score on the RBI single. Then, in the bottom of the 4th, Furunaga grounding it right back to the mound. They get them in a pickle, but they get out of the pickle. Takarazuka, nicely done there. And that brought up Nanook Akiak, who floats it into right center field for a base hit to bring in a second run in the inning, making it 2-0. And then Mamoru Ikari would take it from there. Top of the fifth, Shibuya striking out looking. And then bottom 8, the Crowhoppers would get some insurance runs. Furanaga into center field for a base hit. That would score 1 run to make it 3-0. And then at the top of the 9th, Ikari going for the complete game. Takeda pops out to Kazaki. And with that, the Crowhoppers make the playoffs with a 3-0 win in Game 3, winning the series 2-1. Rounding out the highlight show today is the series that ended Week 7 proper. With a couple of teams making a run at the regular season title, a series win or a sweep by Zumikaku's North Shore Honu would help to solidify, at least a little bit, their place atop the standings. However, while they have been eliminated from playoff contention, John's Copyright's Bay Area Rockets have been one of the better run-scoring teams in the bottom of the table. Would the Rockets be a speed bump for the Honu? Or would the Honu assert their dominance? One of the biggest matches in the EPL in Week 7 to round things out, North Shore Honu, Bay Area Rockets. Game 1, we start off top of the first. Takimoto at the plate for the Honu. Grounds into a 4-6-3 double play. Both teams would have their chances early on. Asa then grounds to second for the final out of the inning. Top of the third, Takimoto gets a ground ball to short. Throw to first in time, and another rally fizzling out for the Honu. Bottom of the third, Toto at the plate for the Rockets gets a pop-up into center field. Sakuma can't quite get there, and that would put runners on first and second with 2 outs. Meanwhile, first and third with 2 outs now for Kishida, and he pops up to first base to end the threat. So on the top of the fourth, bases loaded, 1 out for the Honu. Shiroi with a pop-up into center field, and it'll fall in for a base hit. 2 runs will score on the play to make it 2-0 Honu. Bottom 4 now. Rockets trying to get back into Shinonome. Just getting it over the head of the shortstop Sakuma. That would bring in a run to make it 2-1 and make it a 1-run game. Still in the inning, bottom of the fourth, here's Doken at the plate. Runners on first and third, and he gets a base hit into left field to tie up the ball game at 2 apiece. Bases loaded now, still nobody out for Queen Kokoro, and she gets a base hit into left field to score another run. Some station-to-station baseball for the Rockets to make it 3-2. Next batter, Toto. Grounds into a 4-3 ground out to make it 4-2. 4-run inning for the Rockets. Top of the 6th, Hoshizora to lead things off, and Mine with a nice running play. The pitching staff for the Rockets doing some work until Yashima going yard into right center field there to make it a 1-run game once again. But then later on, top of the 8th, Santa Nakai grounding out to second with runners on the corners to retire the side. And that would be the last threat that the Honu would have. Top 9, Yashima lines out to Kikudo, and the Bay Area Rockets get the upset win in Game 1, 4-3 in this one. Alex, 6 strong innings. Queen Kokoro, 3 hits on the day. Game number 2 between the Honu and the Rockets, and this one was pretty darn good one. Top of the first, Kishida at the plate for the Rockets, facing off with Hagane. Gets a ground ball through the right side for a base hit. Runner goes to third on the play, so first and third, 2 outs for Arakata. The 0-1 from Hagane popped up on the infield, and Hagane will make the play to end the threat. Then the top of the third, Mine for the Rockets with a runner on first and 2 outs gets a base hit into center field. That would put 2 on with 2 outs for Kishida, and this time Kishida would ground out to second to end that threat. Both teams having chances early in this one. Bottom third, Shiroi leading off against Yamaguchi gets a pop-up. Mine going out, makes a great jumping catch right there. Ichijo now in the bottom of the third strikes out against Yamaguchi, and that ended the third. So we go to the fourth. Asa, with a runner on first, gets a ground ball to third. Toto to second to first for the double play. Top six, still scoreless. Arikata for the Rockets launches one to right center field with a runner on first. That would get all the way to the wall, and that would make it second and third, just barely, with one out. So that brought up Shinonome. A 3-1 pitch from Hagane, low for ball four. So that loaded the bases for DJBK. And she would ground into the 4-6-3 to end yet another threat and keep this game scoreless. Bottom six, Asa at the plate for the Honu, gets a line drive into center field. That would be a base hit, and that would score the first run of the ball game. 1-0. Honu take the lead in the bottom of the sixth, also barely voiding the third out of the inning. Top nine, Rockets trying to get back in this. Shinonome with a line drive into left field. That would get down into the corner, and that would put runners on second and third with nobody out. So the Rockets trying to stage a little comeback here. One out now, second and third for Aramura. Gets a line drive into center field. Yashima makes the play. Bit of a late break from third, but the throw is not just in time. Tying up the ball game at one. Then in the bottom of the ninth, leading off was Takimoto and sending everybody home. Walk-off home run for Taro Takimoto to tie up the series at one apiece for the North Shore Honu in what is a critical regular season series for this team. 2-1, the final score in Game 2. Game 3, a pivotal game for the Honu here to try to keep their lead at the top of the EPL. Pick this one up, top of the fourth. Runner on third with two outs for Yaben Diansu, and he would get a base hit into center field to start off the proceedings. 1-0 Honu. And if you liked runs, you would have loved this game. Shiroi with two outs and a great diving play though by Mine. Some great defense there by the Rockets second baseman. Top of the fifth, still 1-0. Ichijo with a runner on first and one out, gets a base hit into center field. Yabai couldn't quite cut it off, and that would bring in a run to make it 2-0. Ichijo held to a double. Then Asa floats it into right field just past Mine for a base hit. That would load the bases, but oh no! DJBK's throw back in the infield goes wild, and that would allow a run to score to make it 3-0. Still in the top of the fifth, Hoshizora with a base hit into center field. That would bring in another run just ahead of the tag. 4-0 the score now. That would bring up Arikata then in the bottom of the fifth for the Bay Area Rockets as they try to get back in this. Yashima couldn't quite make the dive. That would bring in a run to make it 4-1. Rockets almost running into another out there. Shinonome now at the plate for the Rockets, and they get a base hit into center field. That would score another run to make it 4-2. Could they get more though? Doken at the plate, little hit and run action, and they get the base hit into center field to make it a one-run ball game. 4-3 the score. Ichijo now in the top of the sixth, runners on first and second, one out, and he lines it into left center field. That would get all the way to the wall. It would score not just one, it would score two to bring it back to a 3-run lead for the Honu. Bottom six now, Mine for the Rockets gets a ground ball up the middle, just past Yaben Diansu at second base. That would bring in the run to make it 6-4. So a 2-run game, and then Reiji Doken launches it into left center field to tie the ball game at 6 with a huge home run, probably his hugest home run of the year. So 6-6, top 8, runner on third for the Honu, and a base hit into left field would bring in the go-ahead run for the Honu. 7-6 to score, and then the top of the ninth, Yaben Diansu, little floater into center field. Yabai couldn't get there. That would bring in another run, some insurance runs for the Honu to make it 8-6, and that was all they would need. Sakuranomiya at the plate, 2-1 pitch, popped up into left center field, gets a base hit, and they would get another insurance run to make it 9-6. and that would be all the Honu need. Bottom 9, Yabai at the plate facing Ino, gets a line drive. Yaben Diansu lays out to end it, and the Honu win it 9-6, taking 2 of 3 in the series and keeping their lead at the top of the EPL. All right, so after a wild week of action in the USA eBaseball Power League, let's take a look at where we stand going into the final week of play. Ending week 7 in first place is still the North Shore Honu at 19-5, but it is a slim lead for the league leaders, just 1 game above the Philadelphia Bandits and the Green Revolution at 18-6. The Bandits have second place over the Green Revolution on account of their week 1 series win over YG. The Space City Comets and North Pole No Sox are next on the list at 17-7 in 4th and 5th respectively. And then rounding out those that have already clinched the playoffs, the Crowhoppers are in 6th at 16-8. The Soda Beer Sunrise at 15-9 are just outside of playoff contention right now. Meanwhile, the Lost City Monarchs, after getting swept in their series this week, they are in 8th place at 14-10. Then you got the White Comets and Big Sid at 12-12. Moving on down the list, you have the Dot Crew, owned by M. Frisk. They are also at 12-12 right now. Purple Hurricanes at 11-13, still technically in it, but a lot will need to happen for them to make the playoffs. Then in 12th, you got the Smooth Jazz at 10-14, the Hampton County Tabby Cats at 9-15, the Wild Jokers at 8-16, the Bay Area Rockets at 7-17. Then you got a tie for 16th with the Flick in Squibs and the Osaka Foxes. And then in 18th place, you have the Chicago Curve at 3-21. There is plenty at stake coming up in the final week of the regular season just from looking at those standings alone. So let's take a look at some playoff clinching scenarios for the players that are still in it. There are 5 teams left still in it to clinch a playoff spot in the USA eBaseball Power League. For Penguin Pouch and the Soda Beer Sunrise, if they want to clinch a playoff spot, they need to win 1 game or have the Dot Crew lose 1 game next week. Meanwhile, the Lost City Monarchs and iPump Plastic, they can clinch a playoff spot by winning 2 games, or the White Comets and Dot Crew win 1 or fewer games, or they win 1 game and the Dot Crew and White Comets win 2 games or fewer. The White Comets are still technically in contention, but they have a bit of a circuitous path that all needs to happen if they're going to make the playoffs. They need to sweep the series against the Flick and Squibs and the Monarchs get swept, or if the Dot Crew sweeps or Dot Crew loses 1 or more games, they need to have a better run differential than the Dot Crew. For the Purple Hurricanes and Slimefall, they need to sweep their series against the North Shore Honu next week and have the Monarchs get swept, and have the White Comets lose 2 games, and have the Dot Crew lose 2 or lose 1 and have lower run differential than them. Meanwhile, the Dot Crew, they need to sweep their series against the Smooth Jazz this week and have the Monarchs get swept, and the White Comets need to lose 1 or fewer games or have a lower run differential. Alright, so now that you know the scenarios for clinching the playoffs, what about the scenarios for players still in contention for the number 1 seed and the regular season title, and that coveted spot in the Premier 12 USA Finals? Let's take a look at those. A total of 5 teams are also still in contention for the regular season championship. Here's how they can clinch. For the North Shore Honu, they need to sweep their series against the Purple Hurricanes, or if they win 2 games against the Purple Hurricanes, they need to have a better run differential than the Green Revolution and the Philadelphia Bandits. Meanwhile, the Green Revolution can win the title by sweeping their series against the Osaka Foxes and having the Honu lose 2 games and the Bandits lose 1 game. For the Philadelphia Bandits, they need to sweep their series against the Lost City Monarchs and have the North Shore Honu lose 2 games. For the Space City Comets, they need to sweep their series against the North Pole No Sox and have the Honu get swept with a lower run differential than them, and have the Revolution lose 2 games with a lower run differential, and have the Bandits lose 2 games with a lower run differential than them. Finally, the North Pole No Sox, they can clinch the regular season championship by sweeping their series against the Space City Comets and having the Honu get swept with a lower run differential than them, and the Revolution lose 2 games with lower run differential, and the Philadelphia Bandits get swept. All right, folks, it should be an exciting final week of the regular season, and we hope to see you there. We'll be back next week with a recap of all that went down in the final week of the regular season. Thanks so much for watching the Week 7 Roundup show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, if you like what you see. And don't forget, have a great day, and ball go far.